Welcome students. So we have already completed our two modules. Let us start the third module. So third module is about hydrogeology. So you know hydro means water, geology means the study of earth. So hydrogeology. So this third module completely we are going to study about the occurrence of groundwater. Okay, so here, according to our syllabus, we will be studying the occurrence of groundwater, aquifers and the type of aquifers, the confining beds, porosity and vertical distribution of groundwater. So porosity, you all know, you have studied in your geotechnical, right? So Darcy's law is used to determine the permeability. So permeability, hydraulic conductivity, then problems. What are the problems created due to groundwater to civil engineering structures? Then method to control the groundwater problems, electrical resistivity, survey for groundwater exploration, seawater intrusion in coastal area, and Geiben-Hesberg relation. So these things we are going to study in our third module. So first of all, what is hydrogeology? So hydrogeology, first of all, before studying hydrogeology, let us see what is hydrology. So hydrology is the study of water in the broadest sense, and it encompasses the occurrence, distribution and circulation of water, its physical and chemical properties and its relation to living things. See, hydrology, the study about water and how we use this water, both in its physical and chemical properties, etc. But what is the difference between hydrology and hydrogeology? So, hydrogeology, it is the area of geology. Welcome students. Geology so we have already completed our two modules. Let us start the third module. So third module is about hydrogeology. In the soil and rocks of the earth's crust. So you know hydro means water. Geology means the study of in the soil. So hydrogeology. So this third module completely engineering structures due to this. We are going to study about the occurrence of ground available water. Okay, so here, according to our syllabus, we will be studying the occurrence of groundwater. So discussing about the groundwater, what is hydrogeology, the study of groundwater, beds or porosity and vertical distribution of groundwater. With respect to the groundwater, you all know, you have studied in your geology, right? It controls the groundwater recharge flow is used to determine the availability of water. So permeability, and groundwater, hydraulic geological agent. Then problems. What are the problems created due to groundwater? Civil engineering metamorphism. The method to control the groundwater problems, electrical resistivity, etc. Survey for groundwater acts as a geological event for seawater intrusion in coastal area, and Geiben-Hesberg for the weathering of rocks. For the when so these things in small sense it is responsible for the slope stability. So first for the occurrence of hydrogeology. So hydrogeology. Next of all, before studying hydrogeology, let us see what is the first module. We saw what is the hydrology is the study of water, civil engineering. Now, what is need or what it encompasses the occurrence. So, water is necessity for human life, distribution, circulation of water. Its groundwater is a major resource and its relation to living things. And we must understand the hydrology, we study about water of and how we use this water and other human activities both in physical and chemical properties effectively its use. But what is the difference between hydrology and groundwater for various purposes? So and nowadays the groundwater hydrogeology reduced day by day. The area of geology because human activities the geology means the study of polluted. So hydrogeology is the area of geology that is responsible for the climatic movement of groundwater. So in the soil and rocks of the earth's crust. So how the water is distributed of this groundwater in the earth on climate pollution. And what are the problems? The behavior of subsurface water civil engineering structures due to many engineering projects. Ground available water. How can you define the hydrogeology with respect to the water and earth relation or interactions? So you can see in this diagram, we have the rocks, the soil, that is the sediments, and the fluids, that is water, that is earth materials. We know earth is composed of materials, different materials, and we generally classify these materials as rocks, sediments, and fluids. And what are the different geological processes which these materials go through? That is the formation, the distribution, and the change of earth materials. And for all these things, water is a primary agent for these geological process. And the geology controls the groundwater flow. So that is the structure of the rock materials, the property of the soil, and the density or the properties of the fluid, and these are all responsible for the groundwater flow. They controls the groundwater flow. So permeable pathways are controlled by distribution of geological materials, especially the rocks and soils. Then hydrogeology or geology, they controls the groundwater flow, where groundwater is available as a resource, is controlled by geology. Then contaminant transport in the subsurface is controlled by geology. This is the surface, and just below the groundwater table we have subsurface, and this subsurface is mostly contaminated. That is, the treated or the waste products of the treated waters all goes to, we try to dispose it on the subsurface of the soil. So the contaminant transport in the subsurface is controlled by the geological properties. Then second one, that is, first one is the groundwater flow. It controls the groundwater flow. Second is it controls the geologic processes. So what about the different geological processes like volcanic process, then earthquakes, landslides, and landforms. So first one is the volcanic process. So in volcanic process, this is responsible for the geologic process of rocks. We know normally we have three different types of rocks: igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and volcanism. Okay, mainly igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. So sedimentary rocks are formed on the coastal regions. These igneous rocks and metamorphic rocks, you can see, that is, the groundwater controls the water content of magmas. And metamorphic rocks, the groundwater is injected by magmas, can metamorphose the country rocks. So the properties of these rocks you have already studied in our first module. Then volcanism, glaciers are an example of volcanic activity interacting with groundwater. Then how it controls the geological processes such as earthquake, landslides, landforms, etc. So the fluids control fracturing and fault movement, lubrication, and pressures. We know fault movement is one of the cause for the occurrence of earthquake. So this fluids, they controls the fracturing and fault movement. So fault movement means there occurs some cracks in the rocks. So in those fractures, the fluids take the control. Then landslides, they controls the slope failure. Groundwater controls the slope failure. Landforms, we know valley will be developed and karst topography due to the groundwater. Okay, next is groundwater as a resource. So these things we will see in the next class. So today just we have studied what is the definition of geology, hydrogeology, and the different processes of hydrogeology, why hydrogeology is needed for civil engineers. Okay, thank you.